Okay, divas, so the first thing I'm doing is folding a couple of inches of fabric. I think it's about 2 inches or thereabout. Folding that um, in. If folding in, anyway, you get the gist. You can see what I'm doing. And this is the bit that I'm going to be placing on my forehead. I'll show you in a minute. But before that, you need to get 2 equal parts of the gele. So fold it into 2 equal parts and then place the center of the 2 equal parts where that line is. You're going to place that on your forehead, in the center of your forehead, like so. And you're just going to, see, as you can see there, that line is going to be right in the middle of my forehead. I'm just pulling it forward a bit more so that the gele grips. I pull it back later on. I don't want it sliding backwards, basically. So yeah, so you pull put the center of the gele onto your forehead, and then you're gonna take each part of that gele and cross it the other way. So you're crossing it, basically. So you're taking the left arm and you're crossing it over to the right hand side, and you're taking the right hand side and you're crossing it over to the left hand side. Okay, divas? So once you've done that, you're going to pull it taut. Okay, just make sure that it's gripped nicely and firm. Okay, and the way I do that is that I grab the arm that I'm not ready to use, and I tuck it under my armpit, and grip it, because there's nobody to hold it for me. If I was doing it on a client, then I'll get the client to hold it for me. Okay, so now with the side that I'm ready to start to start with, I'm going to place that across. And one thing you'll notice is that because I pulled the 2 parts and I crossed them already, the pleats are forming without me even trying. So basically all I'm going to do is just follow the natural line of the prints that have formed as a result of me crossing the 2 arms. Okay, so you can see that there's a cross there already. Now for this first placement, if you like, by first placement I mean the side that I'm laying down first, I'm going to do about 3 or 4 pleats. So I'm not going to go crazy with this. I'm just going to do 2 or 4 pleats. So I've done 2, and I'm doing this by just following that natural line and tucking in. It's like pinching that gele and just pulling it down, just to form a pleat, basically, just like I'm doing now. you know and just make sure that, sometimes when you're depending on your gele, some of them, they don't want to follow the pattern. So just make sure you check it, you adjust it, make sure you get that pleat. And just take your time. There's no need to rush, because it's important. If you want a nice smooth finish, nice perfect pleats, then you need to take your time, divas. No rushing, no rushing, no rushing. Okay, divas? So as you can see, I have formed 4 pleats, actually. 4 pleats. Okay, and I'm just going to open up the back just so that, I have more control and I see what's going on. Okay. So I'm pulling that arm, the one that I've just created the pleats with, and I'm pulling it taut again just to make sure it's secure, and I'm pulling it to the back, and then I'm going to pull, as you can see, I'm pulling it to the back. And now I'm taking the other side now that I tucked under my armpit, and I'm pulling that across. And as you can see, divas, half my work is done. Because I crossed the gele, the flits have already, the pleats, I beg your pardon, have already started to form. So all I have to do is follow the natural line of these pleats and start to create, divas. It's so easy. It's that easy, I promise you. But what you do, you don't start from the beginning. You start from where the last pleat of your first placement was. Okay. As you can see, I'm not starting this one from the very front now. I'm starting where my last pleat ended. And I have to tell you, divas, it's number one, it's not easy doing this on your own head. It's easier to do it on somebody else's. And number two, it's even more difficult to do it in front of the camera. So there will be a few, you know, discrepancies here and there. Might not be as perfect as you expect, but you know, well, this is the best I can do, divas. Take me as I am. Okay, honeys. So yeah, so I've, you know, pulled that across. And as you can see, I didn't realize this until after, but there's a big gap there. I could have pulled that bit forward a little bit, but because I was in front of the camera, I missed that. So apologies for that. When you do yours, just make sure that, you know, that gap is not that wide. Just pull it forward a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just gonna, you know, follow that natural line and just keep creating the pleats. So, you know, when the line runs out, you know, the creases, if you like, which have helped me to form my pleats, when I run out of those, I'm just going to create my own by just, you know, pinching. You know, you just pinch your ashoke and, you know, make it collapse forward and then flatten it. Pinch, make it collapse forward, and then you flatten it. Okay, divas? So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just, you know, making, you know, another pleat. Quite frankly, you know, the more pleats you make, the smaller your gele is gonna look. To, you know, if you want it to be nice and round, you know, the more pleats, the smaller your gele would look, the more compact. Okay. So now I've taken the edge of that side of the gele, and I'm doing the same with this side. You just take the edge and you scrunch it up in the middle. Okay, now the bottom half is what you tie at the back. So as you can see, I still have the front bit hanging, yeah, and I have the other side front bit hanging as well. Okay, but we're gonna deal with that later. And the struggle is real, divas. You know, tying this gele is no joke. This particular gele is tough. So, oh my god, I must have lost a few pounds trying to tie this gele, divas. It is no joke. But anywho, your diva sailed true. Okay, you would have been proud. So anyway, I'm just tying that knot at the back, you know, just making sure that it's secure. And then we're gonna move to, you know, just tidying up the rest of the gele, making it look nice and sleek, you know, divas, as we do. Oh Jesus, sorry, I just said oh Jesus, sorry. You're not meant to hear that. Oh, something went wrong with my recording. But anyway, here I am creating more pleats, just trying to tidy up that front, make it look more decent. And, you know, like I said, tying gele by yourself can be a bit difficult. Sometimes when you do this on clients, you might not need pins at all. But doing it on yourself, please get your pins ready. But you might need it for clients too. So, you know, I'm just going to secure down those pleats, you know, the ones that I've just created, just to make it look nice and flat. I'm going to secure it with a dressing pin, those tiny invisible pins, you know. A safety pin will not do, divas. No, 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 no. This is not a safety pin job. Okay, so I'm just gonna tidy that up some more. I'm trying to create more pleats, you know, just do as many as you want. You know, if you want it to be nice and big, you can stop at this point and just spread, you know, the hands of the gele, but that would not suffice for me, divas. I don't like big geles. I like my geles to be nice and compact, and therefore, you know, I'm gonna try and create as many pleats as possible. But anyway, now going on to the back, you can just spread this out and leave it nice and big. I don't like that. So what I do is I tuck it in completely. I fold it and I tuck it in. Otherwise, I'm going to have a big gele on my head. I don't like big geles at all, you know. They're for brides, not for me. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I'm tucking that in, as you can see. You know, tuck it in completely so that it doesn't show. And then you can focus on just tidying up this, the front of the gele, making it look nice and sleek. You know, placing those pleats, making sure that the pleats sit well on the side. You know, just using your fingers and checking it, just as I'm doing. And now I've taken the front, you know, like when I tied the back, when I did the pleats on the side of the gele with the different bits that I tied. I don't know if I'm making sense. And I tied the back and I left the front hanging. Well, now I'm tying the front. I've pulled the front to the back because I want it to be nice and, you know, compact. So I've taken it to the back and I'm making another knot, and I'm securing my knot with pins because the hand is not as long, you know, as the first one I took to the back, which was the proper hand that I tied. So I'm just securing it with a knot, and now I am going back and I am just finishing off the job, like tucking in the back some more, making it nice and compact, and looking out for, you know, areas that might need a bit more tidying up, you know, like that little area there that just doesn't look quite as neat. And I'm just going to secure that with a pin. You know, pins are your friend. Use them. You know, it's not easy tying a perfect gele on yourself. It's easier for you to tie gele on a client or on somebody else than it is to tie on yourself. So, you know, do what you need to do. One thing I will say is that you are in control. Don't let the gele control you, because the geles have a habit of wanting to take charge. You know, they're quite intimidating and make you feel that, oh my God, I can't do it. Make you feel frustrated, but don't allow your gele to frustrate you. You, my divas, are in charge. Okay? So anywho, here I am trying to just tidy up, you know, that front, create more pleats, make sure the side is nice and neat, you know, that the pleats are folded nicely, they're in sync with the ones in front, you know, so that, you know, it just doesn't look wonky. You know, you want it to be on fleek, you know, and so you just keep working on the pleats until you're happy. You know, once you look at it and you feel that, yeah, this is good enough, then, you know, that's it. You will know, divas. You will know. But, you know, of course, being the perfectionist I am, I could just keep going till Jesus comes. You know, I've had to make a conscious effort to stop. You know, I don't know when to stop. It's a shame. But anyway, that's what I do. I'm a bit, yeah, I can be a bit compulsive when it comes to things. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Yeah. So anywho, I'm just tidying up this gele, securing it with pins as I need to. And that's all there is to it, divas. You know, just continue to work on it until you are happy with it. And once you are, you know, just look at yourself in the mirror, make sure you're happy. Once you are, just stop. Stop, 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 stop. Because many a times I have overdone it and then I've made it worse. So, but yeah, this is it, divas, and this is all you have to do. So now what I want to do is, obviously I pulled the gele to the front, so now I'm going to pull it back to the back so that, you know, a little bit of my hairline shows, because that's the beauty of the gele as far as I'm concerned. And of course it's just ruined my makeup. The nice contouring that I had around my hairline, it's all gone now. Well, it's still there, but it looks, you know, there's no definition. So yeah, not happy about that, divas, because now it just looks like I drew a straight line around the circumference of my face. It looks odd, but anyway, you know, I can tidy that up, no problem. So yeah, so just, you know, tidying that up and securing those pins, making sure everything is laid nicely, you know. And as you can see, I'm putting in another pin, you know, just to make sure that nothing is lifting, or, you know, I think I'm just being a perfectionist here, seriously. Okay, divas, you don't need to do all this. I'm just taking it. I'm being extra as per usual. Nothing new there. Nothing new there. Okay. So now, I'm just pulling out my ears, you know, rescuing them. And as you can see, it looks nice and compact. You know, I think it's okay. I think it looks fabulous. But of course, I keep kneading at it as if it needs some more help. I don't know, there's something wrong with me. Anyway, now I'm just tidying up the front. I realized that I didn't pull back that front layer. It was sitting, the second layer was sitting on the front layer. So I'm just pushing that back a bit, you know, making it nice and neat. But, you know, I love it when the hairline shows. You know, for those of us who still have a hairline, hey. But anywho, there you have it, divas. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please remember to follow your girl on social media. It's at Facequizite on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Just Google Facequizite. And also, divas, don't forget, comment, like, comment, subscribe, share, and most importantly, subscribe and share. All right, my divas, until next time, do stay absolutely fabulous. Love you loads. Bye. Bye, divas. Bye.